Okay, welcome back. These questions now, it's a new type of question. These are going to be our revenue type questions. And on the quiz coming up, I've actually said the last question on the test is a revenue type question, so that means it's going to be one of these. Pretty much, they're all pretty much the exact same too. If you can kind of get the idea, you'll be fine. So this one says the amusement park charges $8 admission and averages 2,000 visitors per day. A survey, actually I'm going to stop right there. I'm just going to say, okay, so before we get confused by the numbers, amusement park charges $8 admission and averages 2,000 visitors per day. So if I want to figure out how much they made before, they bring these other numbers in, then what I would do is just say, well, the revenue, I'm just going to call that REV, is going to be equal to 8 times 2,000. I'm just leaving little spaces there because I'm going to add something in a minute. So that's what it would normally be, right? Just $8 times 2,000 people. That would give them their total amount of money, right? Now we're going to change it up just a little bit. It says a survey shows that for each $1 increase, so as soon as you see that, we're just going to say, okay, $1 increase. So that means adding. So 8 plus 1 is how we're going to start to change our equation. Increase in the admission cost. 100 fewer people would visit the park. So I see 100 fewer. So that means I'm going to have minus 100. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just put an X on the end of that. So an X behind the 1 and an X behind the 100. Because what X is going to represent here is the amount of increases. So every time a dollar goes up, that would go up, right? So if you think about it, the first time X would be equal to 1. So then it would be 8 plus 1, it would be $9. The second time it went up, so X would be equal to 2. That would be 8 plus 2, so $10. The third time it went up would be 8 plus 3, so $11. So that's what that means, and that's how that works. So that's it. So that's pretty much all you have to do. Just start off with your initial numbers, and then just add a dollar to the dollar one. Subtract to the fewer people one, so subtract 100 or whatever that number is, and then add an X to the end of it. Every one of these is going to be the exact same. So if you can get that down, you'll be golden. Okay, so that's it. You can leave it like that. You can type that right in your calculator like that. Now this one says find the coordinates of the maximum point of this function. So just like before, but so when you put in your calculator, one sec. Okay, so if you put that into your calculator, so I just put it in just like it looks, right, with brackets. Probably didn't need to put a 1 there, but I did anyway. So what's going to happen, I put that in. Now, it doesn't look like this. That was from the last question. I push enter. Oh, it actually did it. Huh. Sometimes, the reason why I'm confused by that is because sometimes when you put in your calculator, I didn't actually put times in between there. Sometimes your calculator will give you an error message. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you need to actually put the time symbol in there, like it is right now, that little dot. But sometimes if you don't put it in there, if you just go bracket and another bracket, it'll give you an error, and it doesn't, for some reason, doesn't know what you want. So make sure you just put a multiplying symbol in there. And it did know what I wanted. So and you can see I've got a parabola kind of happening there. And to get us in the right ballpark here, you can probably just keep going up a bit. My window setting is already pretty high, right? So that's why the only reason why I can see this at all right now. To get you in the right ballpark, if you think about it, if we go back to here, really what we've got is, something about like 10, right? 8 plus, 1, so it's about 10. That's kind of what we'll say, right? And this will be, I don't know, about 2,000, just to make it easy. We'll be a little bit high, but 2,000. So 10 times 2,000, well, that's just going to be 20,000. So that's where I'm going to start. That's where I'm going to start with my Y value, because that's going to get me in the right ballpark. So I'm going to go back here and go menu, window, Y max, 20, 1, 2, 3, 20,000. Okay, so it looks like I'm still a little short, And I'm way too far to the right or too far in the x-axis too. So I'll take a lot off of that. Maybe go up a little bit. So go back to window. So my x max needs to be more like 50 probably. And my y max looks like I could like change that 0 to a 1 probably. And oh, let's try that. Oh, still not quite high enough. All right, I'm gonna pause it. Okay, 25 was the number. Okay, so just like we were doing before, then you're gonna go menu, window, zoom. Oh, not window zoom. Sorry, analyze graph. Sorry, I'm all over the place. This is a maximum, so I'm gonna go maximum. I'm gonna go to the left. I'm gonna go to the right. And now remember how to read our scientific notation. That's the only thing that might give you a hang up. So now it's just making sense of these numbers, right? So the first one, we've done B. It says find the coordinates of the maximum point of this function. That was 6 comma, what was it? 1.9 times 10 to the 4. 1.9, was that it? 96 times 10 to the 4. And times 10 to the 4, all that really means is that the decimal place would move over 4 times, right? So you could also write this as 6 and comma, right? So the decimal moved over from there 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So that would be my max. That's what 1.6 times 10 to the 4 means, is that. Okay, so that's my coordinates of the maximum point, so the vertex. It said, now the next one says, what admission cost gives the maximum value? So what I need to do here is it's saying the admission cost. So remember when we go back here, now we need to look back at our original formula that we made. This was the cost, right? These were dollars, $8 plus $1. That was the cost part of it, right? So it's saying this 6 value, that's my x value, right? Remember that's the x. So it's saying that we're gonna pop a 6 into there to get our maximum value. So what admission cost do we need? We're looking at that one. So 8 plus 1, it was x, but we know that it's maximum at 6. So a 6 would go in there. So that's going to be 8 plus 6, so 14. So apparently $14 is the best that we can do. That's going to give you your maximum revenue cost. How many visitors give the maximum revenue? So remember now, these were our visitors. So again, it was when x was equal to 6. So we're going to pop a 6 in place there. So we started off with 2,000 minus 100 x, but now we're going to put a 6 into there. So this becomes 2,000 minus 600, which is 1,400 people. Peeps. Sure. Okay, so that's those kind of questions. So that might be the hardest part, is just figuring out going afterwards. So after you've made your formula, popping x back into the x's there and there. Okay, so that's the revenue type problem. So go ahead and you can do 7. It's going to be the same type of thing, right? So you start off with your 2 numbers, just like you did before. Add or subtract these 2 numbers from them and add an x on the end, and then graph it. Same with that one. So do that one too. Okay, now these ones, just as a review. And actually, I'm going to save this one for the next video too, just so that they're all kind of separate. So I'll see you guys in the next video.